In this video, I'll show you how we can create a simple process model from start to finish. Let's start by placing the Start event. I'll drag and drop the Start event element from the Shapes panel onto the canvas. Every process begins with a Start event, which represents what triggers the process. In this example, we'll model a simple process for preparing a sales presentation. So I'll double-click on the Start event and label it Presentation Required. Next, I'll add the first task of the process. I'll drag the task element onto the canvas and place it after the Start event. I'll name this task Determine Presentation Scope. Once the task is created, we need to connect the elements using a sequence flow. To do this, I select the Start event, click on the arrow icon, and drag the connection to the task. Now let's add the second task. I'll drag another task onto the canvas and name it Create Presentation. Again, I'll connect the first task to the second task using a sequence flow. Next, we'll add a final task, which represents the last activity in this process. In this case, the task will be Save Presentation. And finally, every process needs an end event, which indicates that the process has been completed. So I'll drag the end event element onto the canvas, label it Presentation Completed, and connect the final task to the end event. And just like that, we've created a simple process model. Now let me show you a faster and more intuitive way to create process models. Instead of dragging every element from the Shapes panel, we can use the plus icons that appear next to each element. I'll start again by placing the Start event on the canvas. Once the Start event is placed and I click the shape, you'll notice a small plus icon next to the element. If I click on it, I can quickly add a new common element directly after the Start event. I can choose any of the shown element, but in this case I want a task element, so I will click on that. When the new task is created, the same shortcuts appear again. This means we can continue adding tasks quickly without going back to the Shapes panel. So I'll use the shortcut again to create another task, and we can repeat this until we reach the end of our process. Finally, I'll select the End Event shortcut, which automatically adds the end event and completes the process. Using these shortcuts makes modeling much faster, and the elements are automatically aligned, which keeps the diagram clean and easy to read. Now, let's save our process model. To do this, I'll click on the Save option. If I want to change the name of the process, we can go to the Details menu, and within the Properties tab, I will expand the General section and click on the Name field to change the process name. We can also give the process description and any other relevant additional information. Another useful feature in ARIS is the Semantic Check. This feature automatically analyzes the process model and highlights potential modeling issues or inconsistencies. It can also provide recommendations for improving the model. So I can see where my process violates any BPMN 2.0 rules and improve my process. Let's quickly recap the elements we used in this process model. Every process starts with a Start event, which represents the trigger of the process. Next, we have task elements, which represent the activities or steps performed during the process. At the end, we have an end event, which indicates that the process has been completed. All of these elements are connected using sequence flows, which define the order in which activities occur within the process.